fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
Groaners, welcome to episode 55 of the Groan Zone, the place for all things groany. Quick note before we go on. As a groany force, we have busted open the 700 download mark with a grand total, as of Friday today, 712. Your host is having a run of bad luck at the moment, but taking comfort in this podcast. But we won't dwell on that, as this episode isn't about me, it's about someone else, someone very special. As this week's episode is a special for this Sunday, as it is Remembrance Day, the day we remember those in past and present, during conflicts and all else, who gave their lives or are still fighting for us, for our freedom and our safety. With a salute and a bow of the hat, let's just soldier on. We have everything you know the podcast for coming your way this week, with facts, etc. galore thrown in. We will start off with my groans, no change there then, and go from there. Groan number 1. When people don't understand why I give thanks to the fallen soldiers. If it wasn't for their sacrifice and fighting, we wouldn't be living in the world we are today. We certainly wouldn't enjoy the freedoms we do, such as this show, or literally other freedoms you may enjoy, like a hobby. Your hobby might be banned under the opposite winning side who would have won World War II. So just think on that the next time you do something. Groan number 2. When people desecrate memorials to the fallen. What is the point of this? Not only is it utterly disrespectful and stupid, but it just goes to show you've got no respect and no understanding of anything. In essence, you're a waste of skin. If you've done this, please stop listening to the podcast because you're an idiot. Groan number 3. When people give poppy wearers a hard time. Listen, if you disagree, tough. It is the person's choice to show their support. Like me, I'm wearing my poppy badge, I support it. We wear it as a tribute, and if you can't accept that, well, you can just jog on. It's not your place to say, well, you can't wear that poppy in my presence. Tough. It's not up to you. Do one. Anyway, that's another series of groans being marched off there. There'll be more next week. For now, we have our first of the World War facts, and also doubles as one of our heroes of the week and for all time. Elsie Maud Inglis was a qualified surgeon and supporter of the women's suffrage campaign. After World War I broke out, she offered her medical services to the Royal Army Medical Corps in 1914, but was told, and I quote, "Go home and sit still," because of course they didn't believe in women's rights back then. Elsie didn't give up and set up her own organisation, the Scottish Women's Hospital, which treated the troops in both Serbia and Russia. She became the first woman to be awarded with the Order of the White Eagle, the highest honour given by Serbia. Elsie and her team were evacuated in November 1917 following the Russian Revolution, from one conflict to another one, bless her. Sadly though, she died from cancer the day after returning to England. Rest in peace, Elsie. You'll never be forgotten. And you're going to be forever immortalised in podcast land as well. More facts later. Let's play a game, shall we? For your first gaming delight, we have the 5-point countdown. You know the drill, groaners. Get it right at the points you land on. Get it wrong after changing answers, and you lose the points you could have had. Let's crack on. Clue number 5. I am usually given to soldiers in trenches and warfare, or on operations in general. Let's see those answers flying in, groaners. Any ideas? Just waiting for them to pop in there. I don't think Trenchfoot was willingly given out to the soldiers, dear groaner person. Sorry, I'm going to flatly say no on that one. But they did suffer from Trenchfoot. Any more? Any more incoming? Okay, no more. Clue number 4. I have been around since the First World War. And no, It is not trench foot again. Any answers coming in there, guys? Any at all? Ooh, people are thinking. I love this bit when people are thinking. All the people typing ration pack. Okay, good answer. Good answer. Any others? Hatred. That is a good answer. A very good answer. Okay. Clue number 3. I am also available to purchase in a civilian version. That clue one more time. I am also available to purchase in a civilian version. They're still thinking. Probably some people are thinking, what's the answer? Have I got it or do I move on? What do I do? Ooh, no more answers? Okay. Clue number 2. Most countries have a version of me. I think I've stumped those listening along live right now. If you're listening along live after the fact, do pause, have a think, then pop your answer in. You never know, you might get it right. Any more? No? Okay. Clue number 1, last clue. A lot of YouTubers have channels where they collect me and sample me. That clue one more time. Clue number 1. A lot of YouTubers have channels where they collect me and sample me. Any coming in there? Gonna have to hurry along those listening along live. Okay, that is the 5-point countdown over for this week. You'll get the answers later on. Moving on, we'll get to the audience groan. This week's audience groan comes in from a certain spirit of W. Churchill, who I bumped into the other week when it was Halloween. He groaned about how he hated conflict in general and just wanted peace. He also groaned about modern day miniature Hitlers. Well, Mr. Churchill, war is hell, as they say, and people stuck in the middle or campaigning for it just want peace. Sorry, campaigning against it, I should say, not campaigning for war. Everyone just wants peace. We just want peace. I know what you mean about the miniature Hitler wannabes, though. May they toast on the fires of hell. Well, Mr. Churchill groaned in verbally, but you can too, if you know myself or Admin Nicole personally. But we also welcome your heroes and zeros of the week, and your all unlucky stories and your feedback. The other methods of sending things in are the following: via Discord at the Groan Zone podcast channel, salute and shout out on the Groan Zone Facebook group, duck and cover and send an email in to the groanzonepod@gmail.com, and lastly, march towards Facebook Messenger and send one in to me directly at Mr. E. Groaner. Moving on, we're going to shift it on to World War fact number 2. Mahatma Gandhi was one of the greatest peacemakers in the world. However, many are unaware he was still very much alive during World War II. He was so committed to peace that he tried to write a letter to Hitler referring to him as a dear friend and pleading with him to stop the war. It's unclear though if the letter actually reached and got through to Hitler. I've got a sneaking suspicion he probably just scrunched it up, then hid it on the fire. Now, everyone's had a turn to groan, and we've given another fact. We'll move on to the more creepier side of the show. At Creepy Corner this week, we stay with our Remembrance military theme with the story of Never Forget. Once night falls, the mist gathers surrounding the town and everyone at the beach. Then the boats come, pierce through the mist. Hollow, eerie boats, falling apart, merely floating on the water. Each boat carrying the souls of the dead, going to be guided to the other side of the cove, ready to continue their journey across the afterlife. Forever roaming, not a single one trapped, the long-lost soldiers of war. Their bodies are never found, but their memories are never gone, returning every year to see their loved ones as they cross the cove to the cave of memories, where they fade again for another year. To those soldiers, this life is better than moving on. They get to see the wonders of the world for eternity, and once a year in this strange cove, they get to see their families growing every year. Mike and Douglas, however, had a plan of their own. It was their job to place the flowers leading towards the cave, but they never did. The flowers on this island have a special property for the departed. They glow and form a much needed path to guide the soldiers where they needed to go. The mist would otherwise block their view and could leave them stranded. The brothers stood, watching where they left the flowers, hidden from view, and a trail ending abruptly. The soldiers began to come into view. There was no telling what might happen. They stopped in their tracks, confused and unsure. Then one noticed the mist began to clear. They must have spent too much time seeing their families. They had to hurry. If the soldiers don't leave before the mist clears, they will never ever be able to return. The ghost of an old soldier stumbled forward into the mist, towards the very dim glow of the flowers that Mike and Douglas were hiding. The brothers were angry. They planned some kind of prank like this every year without thinking about the consequences. Their father died away from the island. He never comes back. They don't get to see him every year. He was a pilot in the war when his plane crashed. All they have left are his medals. As the soldier stumbled into view, he fell, and Mike couldn't help but rush to him. The brothers weren't cruel, they were just hurt. The only ones on the island to be completely alone even on this day. It wasn't right, but sometimes life isn't fair. The soldier was injured, he was missing a leg. His jacket was full of medals, and his face was burned. Douglas approached and saw the soldiers with him. It was the missing leg that really resonated with Mike, as tears began to pour from his face. The day they found out his father was gone, and they couldn't even find him. It was the same day Mike got into an accident and lost his leg. The same leg as this very soldier. The very reminder of his father is his prosthetic leg. All these years of avoiding this day, and the brothers now realize why. In a way, seeing these soldiers would remind them of the father they would never get to see again. They knew it was wrong, what they were doing. Mike helped the soldier up and apologized to all those that came. As the mist began to clear more and more, Douglas rushed to line the flowers and guide them to the cave. Next year will be different. The brothers decided to let go of their pain and to help the town every year. This is what their father would have wanted after all. The soldiers lost their lives fighting for everyone to save everyone. They might be the past, but the brothers now realize as they watch the ghost disappear into the cave that they are the soldiers' future. No one would exist without everything they did for them. Their mistake will never be made again. Mike and Douglas promised each other to do better, to live the way their father did, to help those who can't help themselves and to honour those who came before. In a way, it just goes to show, no matter what may happen or how bad something may be, memories will always live on. As long as you hold on to those, no one will ever truly be gone. They will live on forever, and they won't ever leave us, just as they've always been with us from the start. From beginning to end, and whatever comes next, our memories will always outlive us. Nicole, you've done it again. Good work. When I first read this Groaners before putting it out onto the show, I actually cried. Hopefully, and I can feel myself filling up, hopefully I don't cry now. Let's take the podcast though from the creepy side now to the more unlucky side of the show. It's time for Oh Unlucky! This week's comes from February 1991 during Operation Desert Storm. John Bridges was stationed on the USS Theodore Roosevelt that deployed into the Persian Gulf. He was working on the flight deck in the early hours of the morning at 3:41 AM, a pre-takeoff check of an A-6E intruder jet being sent on a precision strike mission. His last check was to make sure the catapult was connected to the aircraft to enable takeoff. He checked where their launching mechanism was and moved to back away. He started to walk forward but did not make it very far. He was lifted off the flight deck, but the intake also ripped off his life jacket, helmet, tools and goggles. They were sucked into the engine before he was, causing a large explosion that no doubt saved his life. He was sucked in as well and wedged at the area before the blades of the engine, where his helmet was being shredded during the course of the explosion. The pilot felt everything and cut the engine off before Bridges was pulled in further. The flight deck team helped Bridges down. Whilst unlucky enough to be sucked into the engine in the first place, he was lucky to walk away from the accident with a busted collarbone, a blown eardrum and some cuts and scrapes. Needless to say though, he didn't return to the flight deck for quite some time. I can only imagine his fear, and this has happened to others who weren't as lucky as he was. Very lucky escape there, Mr. Bridges. If you're still around, hopefully you've recovered and everything's mended. But now, we move from unlucky to another fact, with World War fact number 3, and another hero of the week and for all time. Director Dame Catherine Furs. That's F-U-R-S-E. In 1909, Catherine joined the Voluntary Aid Detachment. When World War I broke out, Catherine was chosen to head up the first VAD unit in France in 1914. In 1917, she became the director of the newly formed Women's Royal Navy Service. She was awarded 3 service medals, the GBE, and was also made a Dame. Once World War I was over, she became the director for the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. Again, another military hero there. Not just one for peace, but also did her part in World War I. Very well done, Catherine. Again, you were also immortalised. But that's the last of our facts. Moving along, we'll get into our second game, which is Gimme the Question. It's been a while for this game, so just to remind, I give the answers first, but you must give me the right question out of 3. Here we go. Round number 1. Your answer is the VAD unit. Your questions are: number 1. What is the team of people who go out to help set up ventilation aid devices? Number 2. What is the team of people who go out to set up ventricular assist devices? Number 3. What is a team of people who go out to aid with venereal disease assistant decontamination? Oh, a lot of people are going in for 3 there. Oh, someone's gone in for 2 as well. So we've got a mixed bag here of 2 and 3. Almost a split. Okay. Any more? No more groaners? Okay. Moving on to round number 2. Your answer is a flamethrower. Your questions are: number 1. What weapon was first used in the First World War? Number 2. What weapons were banned in the First World War after testing? 3. What weapon did the British use against the Germans in World War I? Oop, someone's thrown up C there, or 3. 3 or C, bless them. Any more? Oh, a few more. Someone's gone in for number 1 there. Any more? Oh, we've got some 2s coming in there. Any more? Oh, 1s and 3s coming. Okay. Yep, that's it. Those are the answers in there. Sorry, the questions in there, I should say. Last round, round number 3. Your answer is Maximilian Schmeling. Your questions are: number 1. Which boxer became the face of the German propaganda? Number 2. Which German comedian often made jokes whilst the Germans were winning? 3. Which scientist defected from Germany to help Britain defend against the V2 missiles? Ooh, someone's gone straight in with an A there. A few more are joining in the A's. Any more? A as well, okay. Or 1, I should say. You got me doing it now. Okay. Alright, any more coming in there? Any more? Oh, someone's throwing in a C. Okay, that's that it? All in? All done. Got points? You'll find out before the end of the show. We're now going to go for our 4th and 5th hero of the week. Number 4. Those people going, hang on, number 4? You haven't given us any other heroes? Technically, I have. During the facts, we've already had 3 Groaners. That's 3 heroes of the World Wars so far. So, hero number 4, William Patrick Stewart Houston, was an all-around respected and well-liked member of the US Armed Forces. He served as a pharmacist mate in World War II for 3 years and was awarded the Purple Heart in the process. Once the war was over, he raised a family in New York and became a successful business runner in the field of healthcare. However, something to note about William is that he was Hitler's nephew. He wasn't a spy or anything or a mole. He had a real hatred for his uncle's actions and beliefs and fought against them and him. I'm amazed he was allowed to serve in the US Navy at all. Well done, William. Very brave of you. You too have been immortalised. And lastly, we couldn't forget these. This one goes out to all of those who fought for our freedom and sadly made the ultimate sacrifice, and also those who continue to fight for freedom and serve proudly across the world, fighting against tyranny and everything else. I'll wear my puppy proudly to show my unwavering support for giving me my freedom to host this podcast and live my life. Thank you, soldiers. Thank you very, very much. But on that rousing note, Here are the game answers. I know you said here's the end of the show. Here are the game answers. Give me the question first. Round number 1. Your answer was a VAD unit. Your correct question was number 2. What is a team of people who go out to set up ventricular assist devices? Like ventricular, tongue twister. Ventricular assist devices. That's the correct question. Round 2. Your answer was a flamethrower. Your correct question was number 1. What weapon was first used in the used in the First World War? Correct. It was first used in 1915. Round 3. Your answer was Maximilian Schmeling. Your correct question was number 1. Which boxer became the face of German propaganda? Yes, although he was boxing champion during 1939, although it should be said he did not support Hitler's views, so he wasn't a supporter of Hitler. And lastly, I hope you got some points there, Groaners. And lastly, the answer to the £5 countdown was, of course, rations, military meals and everything. So those who put rations or anything, you got it. So just make a note of where you got your points. Well played. But on a last note, show your respect this Sunday and observe the silence for the fallen. I believe it's 1 minute or 2 minutes. I know they changed it recently, but I can't quite remember. So it's either 1 or 2 minutes. So regardless of whichever one it is, observe it and show your respect. Take care, Groaners. We'll see you next week.